some technical difficulties. I'm going to try to start that video one more time, hoping that everybody is able to hear and see all of the presentations and we have sound. If you don't have any ability to hear us, please just let us know through the Q&A function. I am so sorry for any challenges you are experiencing, but we are going to get this up and going right now. Well, I apologize, everyone. Again, hopefully you're able to hear me. Again, if you cannot hear me, just let me know through the Q&A function. But we are going to try one more time the video just to make sure that all of our sound and things are working through correctly. And then we will get you started with learning about the things that the reason that you're actually here, which is about our Money Matters presentation. Again, my computer is deciding to be very strange. So here we go. Share. Thank you all for understanding how technological difficulties can become a challenge for everybody. So again, just a few things to note. We want this to be an interactive and engaging session. We want our family members and participants to ask questions throughout the presentation. So please use that Q&A function that you should find at the bottom of your screen to ask those questions as we go through the presentation. My name is Meredith Call, and I serve as the director for our off-campus student and family engagement office. And then Carmen Navoa is down below as well. She is going to serve as your moderator for this particular session. But today's session is all about the Money Matters component. How do you understand when will bills be sent out to family members? How do you understand those? What about scholarships, financial aid, everything along those lines? And so we have two wonderful individuals from different offices across our campus to help you, to help explain that information to you and answer your specific questions, and then get you ready to start off your fall semester with your student. For those of you that are also watching us on Facebook Live, please note that we are monitoring those sessions as well. So if you have any questions through the Facebook Live feed, please just put those questions into the comments section, and we will be able to ask those as well to both Wilton and Douglas. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our wonderful two co-hosts to let them get us started as far as introducing themselves and the offices that they represent, and then we'll get into your presentations. So we'll let Wilton go first.
Almost afternoon to everyone. My name is Wilton Murphy, and I serve as the Director of One Stop Student Services.
And my name is Robert Douglas. I serve as the Associate Director of Financial Aid.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. So in this section, of course, Money Matters. We'll be going over what the One Stop Office does in a way to help your students. Also, FERPA, billing statements and paying tuition. What is a drop versus a withdrawal? Federal financial aid, tips and resources, and also we allot time for questions. So starting off, what is One Stop? Our office is dedicated to being the single point of integrated service for offices such as the registrar's office, financial aid, student accounting, and also we make one cards, and we also assist with parking. Students can contact our office or visit it to have the one cards made. Also ask questions about class schedule and also assistance with registration. We also help create, well, not create now, because I have to activate them, but their Blazer IDs. Also, anything that deals with their email, we can also assist with that. Help with things also like changing majors, addresses, deferred names as well. We also deal as the front face for the financial aid office, and also we do answer scholarship questions. And lastly, the biggest thing is how students can make a payment to their account. So very important, what we do encounter when it comes to dealing with parents is FERPA. FERPA is Family Educational Rights, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So with FERPA, if you do contact us without your student being present, we will, so much that we can discuss with you. So it's best to actually have your student either present or on the phone with you when you do call. More about FERPA is it's a federal law that prohibits colleges and universities from releasing anything except directory information to anyone, including parents, without the student's consent. FERPA is to education is what HIPAA is to healthcare. FERPA applies information about things such as transcripts, grades, course registration, financial aid benefits, and also billing and payments. Now, we can answer general questions for you. In regards like, hey, what's the payment deadline date? How much is the late fee? Anything that's general, we're more than assist you without your student being present, but any specific questions that you would have to ask, you would have to have your student's consent to actually answer those for you. Billing statements. Now, we actually don't mail out billing statements. Balances are accessible through the student's BlazerNet. Also, and along with the Family Hub and also the Parent Guest Access page as well. But again, we do not mail. We will send email notices to students when balances are posted. Charges will actually start being posted on the 20th. And everything will be posted by the 25th. And on the 25th of this month, students will receive an email to go out and, hey, all of your charges are actually listed. Also, in regards to charges, even throughout the semester, we do send students emails as charges are applied. So for instance, if they decide to go to the health clinic or something and they don't show up, it is a no-show fee. So when those charges are actually added to their account, students will receive emails of that as well, just to keep them updated to account balances, because of course you would pay everything at the beginning of the semester, and all of a sudden those little charges may come toward the middle of the end that you may not in the past be notified of, but we do. That is there. Also, the payment deadlines can be found on the academic calendar by visiting the website here, uab.edu/academic calendar. Prior to the first day of class, scholarships and all aid that we are alerted of, they will show as anticipated on the student's account. So you will see the actual charges and also see the anticipated aid. Now, the reason that it's anticipated is because it actually hasn't dispersed yet. And all scholarships and aid that we are aware of will disperse on the first day of classes. Tuition. So kind of what I was alluding to beforehand, this is what an account summary would actually look like. All of the students' actual charges would be listed here, and also all payments. Now, with anticipated payments, they will actually be here, but they'll be listed in red until they're actually paid, and then from there, it will actually be added to the student. payment schedules, we have two different options. First of which is actually paying the entire balance on the first day of class. Now, with that being said, everything that's deducted from any type of aid or scholarships that's been awarded to the student, the amount left would be what you would actually pay on the first day of class. Or students, which is it's not an opt-in for it, it's automatic. If payment is actually not made in full, first day of class, you do have the Blazer Flex plan. With the Blazer Flex plan, there's a one-time $25 fee that's assessed to the student. Let's give you the option to make the payment in thirds. So in this particular example, the students' aid that was granted actually covered their first payment, leaving them with two additional payments of each, which these are the actual dates. August 22nd being the first day of classes and also being the first payment. September 20th is the second payment, and October the 20th is the last payment. Also, in regards to that, students can make a payment in several different ways, one being in person via a Dropbox right outside of the one-stop office. Also, payments can actually be made on the BlazerNet portal with students. Now, with any type of credit card payment, credit or debit card, there is a 2.85% processing fee that is associated with that. But also, we do have an electronic check option, which is free of charge. Also, checks can be mailed to the Financial Operations Center. And also, payments can be made by you directly as parents through the Parent Guest Access portal. Now, students would have to actually give you that access first. Now, another thing with that, the Parent Guest Access portal is actually separate from the Family Hub. So a student would have to go through their BlazerNet, click on the Links and Forms tab, and from there on their left side, they will actually see Parent Guest Access. And from there, they'll put your email account in and also create a password for you. Now, with that, we don't have any access to passwords. So if you get your password, you would have to contact your student to do so. And most importantly, as of right now, you can use that, but it is not compatible with Chrome at the moment. So you would have to use a different web browser to utilize that particular function. But you can actually pay payments for your student directly through the Parent Guest Access portal. All right. Next, we were talking about what's a drop and what's a withdrawal. So the drop add period to drop a class, to drop or add class is the first 7 calendar days of each term. So this particular semester for fall would be August the 29th. At this particular time, no tuition charges are assessed for classes dropped during this period. So if a student is registered for a class now, decides, hey, I think I don't want to take 15 hours, I want to take 12, they can go ahead and drop a class before this date and they won't get charged for it. Also, if you've already paid tuition for classes that a student may drop within this particular time frame, they will also be refunded. The withdrawal deadline for an individual course is approximately 75% of the way through each term. And this particular semester, it falls on October the 14th. At this time, the student is responsible for charges associated with the course or courses they withdraw from. After the withdrawal deadline is passed, the student will not be allowed to withdraw from a class and must take the grade he or she's earned in the course. Also, medical withdrawals require a student to withdraw from all courses. Now, in the past, students could actually pick and choose for whatever reason to do a medical withdrawal and just be removed from one class, but now they have to do it for all courses. So withdrawn courses remain on the student's transcript as a W, but they are not calculated into the student's GPA. So in this particular instance, if the student is not doing well in a particular course, a W is actually better than an F. Because with a W, a student can retake the course, but with an F, of course, it will affect the GPA at that particular time. And also withdrawals do count as a course attempt and can impact their financial aid. Now, a little bit more too about withdrawals as well is that a student can take a course twice without having to reapply for appeal to take it a third time. But also too, this does impact financial aid as it states, because with SAP, with the satisfactory academic progress, the completion percentages will actually be affected. Now, a student desiring to do a full term withdrawal must complete the withdrawal process through BlazerNet. If a student withdraws from all of their courses, a portion or all financial aid may be returned by the university to their original provider. If this creates a balance due to UAB, the student will be responsible for these charges. Now, students may be eligible for partial refunds throughout the term. As listed here, students do have 3 particular dates that if they decide that, for whatever reason, that they decide they don't want to take classes for the semester, they will be refunded a portion of just tuition. Now, keep in mind, just tuition. So any fees, such as any lab fees, dining fees, anything to that effect that's actually a fee, won't be refunded, just the tuition portion of it. Turn it over to Robert to talk more about financial aid.
Thank you, sir. Just to kind of reiterate what he was saying before I move on to this information here, I do want to let you guys know that when you withdraw, thank you, sir, Mr. Murphy, for touching base on partial aid being returned to its source. But I want to clarify that even though you withdraw from the term, and academically it's a great situation for you, you want to contact the financial aid office or One Stop before you do that to make sure, to see what the effects on your aid will be. You may run into a situation where it will affect the amount that you owe for school, or it may be a situation where it's so late in the semester that none of it can be canceled. So just make sure you always contact the financial aid department and or One Stop prior to doing that withdrawal. All right, so receiving federal financial aid in general, and of course there are different types of aid, but to receive federal aid, you need to complete every year a form, what's called the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. If anyone tries to charge you for completing an application like this, run away. That is not the proper place. You go to studentaid.gov to complete this application. It's available October 1st, the year prior to you beginning school. So for this school year, beginning in August of 2022, the application became available last October 1st. You can view and accept your financial aid offers that have been made to you based off of this FAFSA through your BlazerNet accounts. But remember, your application for federal aid via the FAFSA goes to the federal government first, and then they send it to the institution to review. There may or may not be additional documents that you have to submit in order for us to verify some information. So it's not always just a submit and get awarded process. Just keep that in mind. It takes usually about 2 to 3 days for us to get the application, and then we have to review it prior to us awarding you. But as I said before, once you do get awarded, you can view those awards and accept those offers on your BlazerNet account. In addition to accepting those offers, in order for us to process any Title IV aid, which is federal financial aid, available through FAFSA applications, in order for us to apply any of that to your account, you have to complete a Title IV authorization form on BlazerNet. There is also a resource form on BlazerNet that you need to complete in order for us to process any outside scholarships and aid that you may be receiving. So make sure you complete these forms if you want to get the most of your coverage of any aid that you're receiving. If you have more questions about anything, of course, you can always contact our financial aid department. And I'll probably say that a few more times along the way. Master promissory notes and entrance counseling are additional requirements that you must complete in order for us to process any federal loans. So that's a subsidized loan, unsubsidized, parent plus, graduate plus loan. Any of these loans require a master promissory note of some sort. And that's basically a promise for you to pay the loans back. Entrance counseling is required for any students entering UAB for the first time. So if you're entering UAB and you have not, if you're coming back to UAB, either way, you have to do entrance counseling, which basically gives federal government notice that we will be processing aid on your behalf. So both of these things are necessary if you're looking to borrow any funding from the federal government, any loans. Aid will be dispersed to the student's account on the first day of classes each semester. Now, if you're in a special program, that semester beginning may vary, but to be specific, I would say always go to the academic calendar and check to see what dates those are, okay? Work study funds will be paid as you work. Will be paid to the student with whatever process that you set up or approved. So it could be direct deposit, just like your refund checks can come as direct deposits. Work study funds can come as direct deposit as well to an account that you specify and set up. If you receive a check from the university, still funds are all paid to the student throughout the year as you earn those hours. So it's not one lump sum payment of an award. The award that you see on the account is what you're eligible to earn throughout the semester. Mr. Murphy. Thank you. All right, so we talked about federal aid. So let's talk about the different types of federal aid that you may be eligible to receive. The first type are grants. Everybody wants these, right? This is the quote unquote free money that people love to receive in addition to scholarships, right? So grants are need-based aid that you are not required to pay back. That's why I said free money. Federal work study is another type of aid. It is also needs-based, and it allows a student to work on or off campus to earn funding to help pay for their education. So it is a job. You are responsible for doing whatever it's needed for that particular job description, and you get paid just like a real job, and you use that to help pay for your education. That is the idea, or to cover any educational expenses you may have outside of what you're billed for, or it can be applied to what you are billed for. So it's pretty flexible. The other type is a direct student loan. So a direct student loan is money that students are eligible to borrow. We spoke before about subsidized and unsubsidized loans as being two types, or I mentioned it before. Subsidized loans, I want to tell you the differences, are covered or have interest that's covered by the federal government while you're in school. Unsubsidized loans, the federal government does not cover this interest, and your loans begin to accrue interest as soon as it disperses, okay? I wanted to specify the differences between those two specifically. And if you have a Parent Plus loan on your account or a Grad Plus loan, those act just like the unsubsidized loans, where the interest begins to accrue immediately. But you can borrow at pretty low interest rates from the federal government to help you pay for college. If you have questions about any of these types of loans, we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. The note at the bottom specifies that undergraduate students must be enrolled half-time in 6+ credit hours or more to be eligible to receive a loan in any given semester, okay? You have to be enrolled in at least 6 eligible credit hours. The federal government only allows, and as an example, they only allow 1 repeat of courses, so they won't cover it if you're repeating a course 2 or 3 times over. That's to give you an example. So if you enroll in 6 hours and one of those have been repeated too many times, technically in financial aid terms, you only have 3, so that loan would not be able to process. Just to provide a little clarity for you. Graduate students are eligible for loans with 5 credit hours of enrollment. Mr. Murphy. Thank you. So in addition to the federal resources, there are scholarships. I mentioned scholarships, and I've also mentioned PLUS loans before. The scholarships, Mr. Murphy touched base on already. You go to accept scholarships through UAB with BSmart. I urge you as well to register with BSmart. as soon as possible, as soon as you get access to the system. And many people think that it's just for freshmen. That is not true. You can apply for scholarships and you may be eligible for some through BSmart throughout your matriculation here at UAB. So make sure you're always paying attention to that board once you get enrolled in starting your courses. Scholarship checks that come from outside entities need to be sent to our scholarships office, and they process those outside checks. We do receive some in financial aid and One Stop as well. And of course, we'll try our best to make sure it's sent to the proper place, but that is the general site for scholarships to be sent to, and their information is located online. In order to apply for one of the PLUS loans that I mentioned, and just to be a little clear again, Parent PLUS loans are for dependent students. So if you're classified as a dependent student, which means that you have a legal guardian, if you have a guardian, adoptive parent, or biological parent that you live with and help you financially, on your FAFSA that will be clarified. And those people are eligible to borrow a Parent PLUS loan. If you have a biological parent that does not live with you, they too can apply for a Parent PLUS loan. This can be done at studentaid.gov, and it can be offered up to the student's remaining cost of attendance. However, that parent does need to be eligible. So it does go through the regular credit check, and if they're approved, or for whatever amount they're approved for, we can award that particular amount. But it is based off of a budget component called cost of attendance. So there are limitations. And if you have more questions about that, like I said, I will mention consistently, you can reach out to us. The current interest rates for a PLUS loan is 7.54% for anything that processes before July 1st of 2023, so next year. It usually changes annually if there is any change, and it could go up or down. If you need to apply for an alternative loan, and I always say, treat this as the last resort. Alternative loans sometimes have higher interest rates. I will not say always. I will say that you need to do due diligence in researching these loans, comparing them to the PLUS loans and whatever else you're borrowing. But for alternative loans, if you're looking for options, we don't have any that we do or can suggest in particular, but if you go to our website, we have actually provided a resource for you at uab.edu under cost of aid, and then types of aid, loans, alternative education loans. That is where you can find information on how to borrow an alternative or private loan and how to go through the process and where. So this information is provided for you as to help you, really. We're all here to help you through this process of matriculation through the university at UAB. We want you to be successful, and we want you to come out with as little debt as possible. So if you have any questions, want any advice, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, Wilton.
So there's some important tips. Be sure to review the account balance in BlaZerNet or the UAB Family Hub before making a payment. Because as of right now, again, like I mentioned earlier, charges will start being posted on the 20th, but everything won't be there. Even after the 25th, when we do send out the email about the bulk of the charges being listed, things like parking, student health insurance, dental insurance for certain students as well, all of those charges actually post later. So just be sure that you review the account. Anticipated financial aid includes merit-based scholarships awarded by UAB and any accepted federal financial aid. Awarded also is not the same thing as accepted. Now, students must accept their awards for their financial aid offers in BlaZerNet before funds can actually be credited to the student's account. So students will receive an email from financial aid stating, hey, you've been awarded these particular funds, but they have to actually go out to physically accept those awards before they can actually be added to their account. Payments can be made online with an electronic check, credit, debit card, as I discussed earlier. And also, again, with the 2.85% processing fee for credit and debit cards. Again, we do have the electronic check option, so which is, again, free of charge. And also, checks can be mailed to the financial operations center or dropped off in our secure drop box right outside of MOF, which is the one-stop office in the Hill Student Center. Now, again, I wouldn't recommend mailing a check, honestly, more than a week out at that particular time. Actually, if you do have a check that's a personal check, I would recommend you just to go ahead and pay it directly through BlaZerNet or the Parent Guest Access portal, because it actually posts right then. And also, too, you don't have to worry about the check getting lost in the mail. Because again, just from past experiences, people do send out checks, sometimes late, sometimes to the wrong address, and things can get misplaced. But of course, the sooner you do it, the better. But if you want to send a check, I would definitely recommend actually paying it through BlaZerNet or the Parent Guest Access. Couple of resources here. One biggest being BlaZerNet. Also, the When to Pay website, which lists more information about the Blazer Flex plan and also the payment dates there. Our particular website, which is the one-stop site, uab.edu/onestop. And you can actually get through all of these sites, these particular links here through our website as well, and also the academic calendar. Actually, this is our contact information to our particular office, our phone number. We're located in the Hill Student Center on the first floor. Our website, again, uab.edu/onestop, and also our email address, which is just onestop@uab.edu. Taking time out, for us. And so now we'll go ahead and answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy and Mr. Douglas. And again, we apologize for the beginning of our session when we had some technological issues. We do have a question. And the question has to do with if the student has granted the family member access through the hub, but the family member calls in with a question, does the student need to be on the call?
So yes, to answer that particular question, because even though you have access through the Family Hub, we actually will still have to have that particular permission from the student at that particular time to speak with you about it. Now, we can answer questions if you actually have the hub up and actually have questions about something that's there. We can actually, answer those again in general terms. About what you actually see. But as far as it actually kind of going more so in the weeds with it, we would have to actually have the students' permission to actually speak with you fully about it.
Thank you. And we do have another question. This question says, my daughter is a PWA. Will those credits be updated by the 25th?
Familiar exactly what a PWA is. Right. That being said, if it is from courses from a different school, what you'll want to do is actually have that transcript sent to us. And then from there, once we actually receive the transcripts, actually not our particular office, but it actually goes through enrollment operations. And transcripts can be sent to via email to transcripts with an S at uab.edu, but it has to come directly from the school. And most schools actually already have us in the system. Also, too, mail them in. You can also mail them in as well. But with any type of grades from another institution, they would just need to be sent over. And once they're sent over, it takes about anywhere from 3 to 5 business days to be added back to the student's account, and they'll be able to see it on BlaZerNet.
Thank you. Thank you very much for answering the questions. And families, Sorry, so just to clarify, PWA is a peer wellness ambassador. We missed that. That was important to know. So that helps to answer that question.
But yeah, it's still the same with anything with the institution that there, they can have those grades sent to us and we can actually have it added to the account.
To clarify, it's not grades that she's asking about, that students who are part of the peer wellness program get a reduction in their dining and other costs potentially. So, and I know that there are other scholarships and issues that will do similar type things. So again, I think the reiteration is like, when will they start to see those when could they possibly start to see those scholarships or other information being assessed to their students' accounts?
Oh, something totally different. All right, I do apologize for that. Now, in regards to any type of tuition reduction or any type of, I guess, financial credits wise on that particular end, that's actually not a particular scholarship, so to speak, that actually goes through our student account services office. And I can give you that phone number, which is area code 205-934-3570. Again, that number is 205-934. To address those actions specifically more definitely better than what I can on that particular question. I do apologize.
Thank you for the clarification. And we do have another question on Facebook. For outside scholarship funds, when does the student need to complete the form? After UAB receives funds or in anticipation of the funds?
I'll catch that one. If it's an outside, if it's an outside scholarship, they can do it in anticipation of the funds, and we will consider that. But it will not post towards their balance on their actual account with student accounting until the funds are received.
Thank you. So we do have about 4 more minutes. If anybody else has any additional questions, of course, you can reach out to both Mr. Douglas and Mr. Murphy. And we will also, just to let you know, after this webinar, we will also be sending out a short survey with some questions that may be helpful for future surveys. So again, we do have a few more minutes. Is there anything else, last minute things you would like to add, Mr. Douglas or Mr. Murphy, about our webinar today?
Yeah, the biggest thing is don't wait until the last minute to do anything. Of course, the more time allotted to get things straightened out, the better. Of course, hey, we try to work miracles, but sometimes we can't with limited time. So again, try to address things, as far out as possible, so that we can actually have a little bit more time to assist you in certain cases that may need.
We do have a question. It's a very interesting question. Is there a way to know which outside scholarships are real or fake?
That's a good question. I think it's going to depend on the situation. There are several sources that we can vet, but there's a lot of information out there. It's really too much for anybody to know as a whole. So if you have any questions about a particular situation, I'd say make sure you do your research. Better Business Bureau to look up a particular company to make sure they're valid would be a good option. If they're saying that they're related to a government entity or nonprofit organization, don't hesitate to reach directly to that organization to confirm its validity.
Well, thank you very much. There is one more question that just popped up, which is great. The 529 plan in our state sends a paper check to the university. Which office will need to receive it?
So for that would actually be our student account services office. They actually handle the 529 payments. And give me just a second, and I will actually give you their particular address because they actually have from the one, but I'll still give you this, which would be UAB, sorry. Course mail it to UAB, 1720 2nd Avenue South. That's Birmingham, Alabama, 35294. And
thank you. We have one more question that just came in through Facebook. I'm a UAB employee and completed the Refer a Blazer form online. Will I need to do anything else for our account to reflect our tuition discount?
so yes, to answer that question in regards to can I type the address there, which I will. Now, do you mind repeating again? It said Refer a Blazer?
Yes. So I'll repeat the question. It says, I'm a UAB employee and completed the Refer a Blazer form online. Will I need to do anything else for our account to reflect our tuition discount?
Again, I'm not sure what the Refer a Blazer program is. Now, I know if you're actually
It is, I can from that is through our Office of Admissions and Enrollment Services.
okay. Oh, now speaking to that same point as far as employees. Now, if you are an employee, as far as and your student is a dependent, you will have to complete your actually certify them through Oracle. And also, if you're actually a employee and student, it's automatic from that. So that's kind of just a FYI on that particular.
Please do. Please do.
All right. Well, we've come to the end of our webinar, and we want to thank everybody for joining us. The webinar will be shared and posted on our website, uab.edu/families, within the next couple of days. You can also access it through Facebook as well. We want to thank again Mr. Murphy and Mr. Douglas for being with us today. And again, if you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our office or to One Stop or Financial Aid for any additional questions. We wish everybody a great lunch break or definitely happy afternoon. And we are here to help you again. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.